Hello, Fierce Nation. So this is 15 minutes of Fierce. For those of you, I think Lisa said that there are about 60 new people in the big sellers, and I know she's going to share this show later, but this is 15 minutes of Fierce with Lisa Copeland. I am not Lisa Copeland. I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips, and Lisa is actually traveling. I think she's going to see some of you guys today, or over the next few days at Rockstar. And good morning, all you people jumping on early. I'm going to have to kind of go back here and kind of see if I can. Yes, I can. Michelle, morning to you. You are the first one. Keith and Marcus, my squad. Leanne Rhinesmith, good morning. Nigel, Anthony, Chantal, hello. Sandra, Ben Stock, Delolio, and Josh. Oh, James and Sandy. Brad, oh my gosh, Adam Aarons, everybody's on here, you guys, today. Okay, so I've got some good stuff today. First of all, I wanted to say Happy Mother's Day. I hope those of you who are out there had such a great day. I wanted to just kind of wish the moms out there a happy Mother's Day, the mother figures out there for so many people. I had a teacher jump on Facebook and she kind of said, Happy Mother's Day to all. And you never know the story behind anything. And so I also wanted to wish and send out love to the people who had to remember some of the things that they've lost on Mother's Day as well. So I had a great Mother's Day. I actually had a 2-hour nap. Oh my gosh. I was so tired. I was so exhausted. I'm so excited to be here to talk about what I was doing in the last few days. But man, was I exhausted. I told my daughter to please wake me up in about an hour because I didn't want to miss the day, and I woke up 2 hours later. I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't you wake me up? And she's like, Mom, you look just so tired. You're so exhausted. And I was. And so I just feel I'm getting back there. I'm getting a little more refreshed. And so I had a great Mother's Day. But I really wanted to talk today about what I've been doing in the last few days. I know some of you know me, maybe have followed my feed, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, but I have been in California I arrived on Wednesday, left on Saturday, and I've been at this amazing summit. It's called the Circular Summit, and I wanted to recap a little bit if some of you have missed maybe what I've posted, what this summit was all about, and I love attending, as you all know, I love attending, even though I'm an audiologist, attending conferences that have nothing to do with audiology, because that's where I learn a lot outside of audiology. And I've attended Hustle and Grind, and I've met so many of you great people. And this was kind of a fun conference because it was entrepreneurs. So for those of you who don't know, I'm an audiologist, but I'm also a business owner and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm building a new business. And good morning, Dina. And I have to kind of scroll through this again just to say hello to everybody. Roberta, Liza, Myers Borges is here. And so anyway, this what I attended was called the Circular Summit. And I want to just give you a little bit more background about what it was. It was put on by Hello Alice, or Alice, which is a digital ecosystem platform for female entrepreneurs. And I want to just read off a little bit about what the Circular Summit was. It's actually their 4th summit, and it's held for women entrepreneurs to succeed by getting them in front of investors, policymakers, enterprise partners, organizations, and media to help propel their businesses forward. And so for this summit, it was focused because they listened, they took some input. So this summit was solely focused on customer acquisition and capital. So what they did was they brought tangible resources and opportunities in to help fill those needs. And, they created this circle. And the reason why it's called the Circular Summit is this circle that I wanted to talk to you guys about. This circle is this inclusive community of diverse entrepreneurs that have led the way and share their experiences so that others can, I love this, see it to become it. And so as a group, this was super interesting. Alice, which is this digital ecosystem platform, has launched over 500 companies and raised more than $70 million. That's huge, you guys. So I was there and there were so many opportunities to connect. And I have to say, being transparent, right before I left, was so overwhelmed. Chantal says, did you see Lauren Flanagan? Yes, I did. I reached out to her before and we definitely caught up a little bit. Lauren is the best. Lauren Flanagan, so good to see you there. So I was overwhelmed right before I left. My squad, my tribe knew that. And I had to call another person because I was like, I am not ready. I wanted to be at a certain spot in my new business before I went there. And I just wasn't there. Marcus Stone talked about managing time this morning on his show, and I wasn't there, and I had to be okay with it. And I came to terms with it. But here's the thing, you guys, I still showed up, and that particular summit, this whole thing about a circle, today it's not really meaning about like a tribe or a squad, but a circle meaning that there are women that have gone, or people even that have gone before you in business, and they're willing to share what they've learned for the people coming up behind. And it creates this big circle of, I've been there and I'm going to come around and help you. And then it just kind of keeps going. And it's like the circle of life, right? It's like it keeps going and going. And so no matter where I was, I still learned, even though I wasn't ready. And I would have never traded it for the world. Like, I'm planning to go every year because here's my goal. I want to be further along in my business that I'm growing the next time I go, because I'm going to learn other things, right? And so every day, the people at Hello Alice, Elizabeth Gore, Carolyn Rods, these women got up on stage, even the speakers that they had, and every time somebody was up there, and every time there was a break, excuse me, they always pushed that. And they made it very apparent that while you're here, make the ask, make that connection. Everybody is interested in helping you succeed no matter where you are in your business. So, I wanted to go over some of the day topics just to kind of give you an idea of what I went through in the last few days. If you guys want to go back and see my notes, if you follow me on Twitter at audio, so AUDIO, Dr. Dr. Phillips, PHILLIPS, those are pretty much my notes over the past 2 days. And we trended, you guys. We trended on Twitter multiple times. It was incredible. But some of the day topics were forging your path with purpose, staying customer-centric, scaling and building a strong team, mastering the pitch, how to stand out in investor meetings, shattering taboos, women in stigmatized industries talked, customer acquisition from 0 to 1 million, what's your end game, like when do you pass on the baton, how do you navigate through acquisitions and mergers, how do you plan your exit strategy, goal settings and business planning, how to pitch to media outlets, self-care, avoiding burnout, two sides of the coin. This was kind of my favorite. This was really interesting. This one was about a conversation between a founder and a funder. And so this woman that was up there, she talked about how she started with pitching and investors. And then the investor that actually invested in her was also on stage, and they kind of went back and forth. And it was so interesting to see that process. And then there were also times where you could connect to investors, as well as they had things set up for new headshots and for you to video your pitch so that you can use it for your business. Chantal, I wish you were there too. You know what though, girl? Next year, because I'm going to be back there next year and I'm going to be further in my business as well. Okay. Then there were partners. Oh my gosh, partners and sponsors. Dell, PepsiCo, Stacy's Pita Chips, Amazon, Bumble Biz, actually, they were talking about Bumble Biz, not the dating app. Consumer Technology Association, Goldman Sachs, Insperity. There's so many partners and investors and sponsors. And then just the people that I met. So, a lot of you know that I met Lisa at one of these types of events, an entrepreneur business women meeting. And it's the same thing. I met so many incredible entrepreneurs, and it's so fascinating to sit down and hear about what people are learning and building. There's so many incredible businesses. You're like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. That's such a good idea. And not only do you listen, but you kind of start thinking, okay, well, how can I help you move the needle forward? And they're doing the same thing to you. So it's not catty. It's not, oh, shoot, I should have started that. Well, I'm going to start that now. No, it's really learning authentically about what each other is doing, working on, and then helping each other out. So I also wanted to talk a little bit more about some of my takeaways so that you guys can kind of just join me on the journey. Again, go back to some of my social media feeds because I have a lot of takeaways there. But some of the takeaways that I did learn while I was there was, number one, that you'll be 75 more successful if you are involved in networks. That was huge. I mean, all of you, this is the community, right? 15 Minutes of Fierce with Lisa. Marcus Stone's got his community. Glenn Lundy's got his community. Some of you are all on the same ones, and some of you are on different communities as well. So you have to be introduced into this network. And you know what, you guys, you'll be 75% more successful. All right. Another thing I learned was that there are many different ways to obtain funding. So for those of you that are big sellers, because this is going to go in big sellers, there are many different ways to obtain funding. And I don't know if you knew this, but I didn't know it. So I made a note and I'd like to share it. From seed funding, from angel investors, private equity, venture capital, and it started to make sense of it's not just all bootstrapping if you don't want to. Now you can, but there are many different ways that you can look into finding funding for your business. And Rachel Drury, who is actually the CEO and founder of Daily Harvest. Do you know Daily Harvest? I know Diane Uzelac is on here, but Daily Harvest is this awesome. She grew this company, and it is like fruits and vegetables that you put in. They send it to you in a frozen thing. You put it in your freezer, and you dump it out. Put it in a blender and you have like this shake. So it's called the Daily Harvest. And I know that there's some other things on there as well. But CEO and founder of Daily Harvest said, finding funding is like dating, basically. And this really helped me wrap my head around that, because I felt like you always had to like kiss up to the investors, right? But no, it's a match. I sat next to an investor on my adventure, and I talked to him and I said, what makes you want to invest in a company? And he said, really, it's something that I truly believe in it. And at some point, he goes, even though I'm very hands off, at some point, I truly believe that if I wanted to, I would want to take over that company. And I said, so you're going to have a connection with what you invest in. He goes, absolutely. And, it made me understand that it is like a dating app, like Rachel Drury said, is that not every investor is going to be for your business, and you've got to make that connection, and you've got to continue to go and keep pitching your business to find the right fit for either the funding that you need, or that investor may not be the one that you want, right? So it goes both ways. It's not one way versus the other. That was huge to me. Another takeaway that Melissa Bradley talked about was that everyone needs a pillow, a soft place to land when the world beats the crap out of you. So who are those people that are your pillows? And then everybody also needs a mirror. So you need that someone who will tell you when you do not have your stuff together or when you are messed up. So I want you to think about who are your pillows and who are your mirrors. And if you have one and not the other, who can you get in your squad, in your tribe, in your community, in your network to be your pillows and your mirrors? The last thing that I've talked about a couple times, on different feeds was that, I went on an adventure that was a wine adventures. So I went to a couple of different vineyards, and while we were at the Kendall Jackson vineyard, they were talking about, there was a question that came up, and the question was, what do you guys do with the barrels that the wine sits in? Is it something that you just use over and over again, or do you kind of toss it and you use different barrels for different wines? And the woman that was talking said that they don't use new ones over and over, because what they do is that they put, after they've dumped the wine out of one barrel, they put the next wine in so that it can sit. And, wine has to age, right? But the leftovers, or what she explained, was that the leftovers and the sediments from the previous wine create a unique flavor and the story of the wine. And so she stopped, and I was like, bing, 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 bing. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, this is what the life of an entrepreneur is, right? Of a business owner, is that, my takeaway was on this entrepreneurial journey, you have to embrace your story. You have to enjoy and savor the journey. And no one is you. You are your own unique flavor, right? All made up of what you have gone through before. And so it just clicked for me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I know we're supposed to actually be on this adventure and speak to, the investors, the sponsors, the partners, other entrepreneurs. But what that woman said, just being on that particular adventure, just hit me that you've got to be proud about what you have. You have to be proud about everything that got you to where you are. And I just love that. And so those are my takeaways. And then the last part of my trip was really, I went on this trip with one of my dear, dear friends, Reggie Corona. She is a business strategist. A friend, she's my accountability partner, and we had some time after the summit to kind of sit back, really take in what we learned, share with each other what we learned. And of course, because she's a business strategist, she had me set some goals of what I'm going to do, and we have a call in about a week, but I've got some goals that I want to reach with my new business. So yes, I was overwhelmed in the first part of this trip because I wasn't where I needed to be, or so I thought, in my business. But now I've got goals. I've got a set, clear path. So have that accountability partner. And I say that all the time. So my call to action for you guys today are two things. Number one, what is that next goal that you have to reach? And who can you reach out to help you keep yourself accountable so that you can continue to move and build? If you don't have that accountability, find somebody on this community, you guys. You guys are so awesome showing up every morning, supporting each other. And everybody needs that pillow, that mirror, whoever it is, and that accountability partner. There are goals that we have to reach, and we have to keep each other accountable. So that's the first thing. The second thing is think about this circle, okay? The circle, not necessarily the tribe today, but the circle of who can you open that door for, the person coming behind you. Again, Elizabeth Gore, who is the president of Hello Alice, she had mentioned that if you have reached this certain level on this elevator, it is time to send that elevator back down to pick up the next woman or the next person or the next entrepreneur to pull them up and to bring them up to the next level. So with that, 15 minutes of fears. Thank you guys so much for joining this morning. And I just wanted to recap where I was. You guys go out and slay your day. Be fierce. Love you all. Good to see you. And thanks for joining. All right. Bye.